Hey YouTube, it's GV Loan Guy. It's December 21st, 2011, and I want to get through some of these, a couple of articles kind of quickly, so I'm going to go right to it. This first one is FEMA camps, seeking contractors and personnel to staff and confine. Now this one came out actually about a little over a week ago, on December 12th, and this was a little bit shocking to see that they were getting ready to staff the FEMA camps already, since it was apparently a big secret for a long time. Anyway, let's see here. I'll get started on this one. There's some interesting information here. The following December 7th report from blah, blah, blah concerns a federal request of information seeking contractors to fulfill positions for the maintenance of the U.S. populations at FEMA camps. Those which Jesse Ventura and others have shown, complete with steel fencing, capped with razor wire tilted inward. Remember those? All right, now they're getting ready to staff those. Toward the camps and the intended occupants, ostensibly to keep them inside. Apparently, the RFI response from large-scale government contractor KBR, formerly Kellogg, Brown and Root, subsidiary of Halliburton, has become public. The role in this RFI and KBR's response are complementary to those of the United States National Guard, blah, blah, blah. Here's the application. If you want to go ahead and get a job at the FEMA camps as an internment specialist, you can do that right here. I'll post the link below if you're interested. Notice the duty of counseling individual prisoners for rehabilitation. Is that the point of imprisoning authentic terrorists and enemy combatants? Rehabilitation? To what? That would be news. You know, I mean, I just hate to say it, but let's face it, these guys are doing this right in front of us. And we're all sitting by watching it. Obama's policy of assassination of suspected terrorists, even if American citizen, is apparently being coupled with powers of indefinite detention for the same by the new Defense Authorization Bill, which was recently passed and then signed by Obama a couple of days ago. Is it inconceivable, even for a corrupt neo-Marxist-led instrument of controlling globalist elites who have historically supported communist and fascist regimes, to intern U.S. citizens in mass and concentration camps? Is it inconceivable? No, it's not inconceivable. Keep in mind the liaisons won Barack Obama with not only authoritarian and totalitarian regimes abroad, but the apparently close friendship of the likes of American communist terrorist William Charles Bill Ayers. Larry Grathwohl, undercover agent of the FBI who infiltrated Ayers' weather underground of the early 70s, has testified his people were considering the execution of up to 25 million Americans. Yeah, this is Bill Ayers, friend of Obama. In fact, wasn't it in his house or something that Obama announced his run for presidency? Come on, guys. This is all the same group here. You folks need to get alarmed about this. This goes way back in the 70s. Those people were considering execution of up to 25 million Americans in their revolutionary conjectures. Then settled with the idea that large percentages of them could be placed in concentration camps for re-education, communist style, or else. I mean, this is exactly what we're seeing here, folks. I don't know, there's people that believe that Obama's like Hitler, that the time frame is like it was in Germany in the early 30s. I'm beginning to wonder if they're not right. Anyway, I'll keep reading. But how could such people psychologically intimidate the highly armed and often patriotic American population in order to accomplish such a travesty? Discussed more and more frequently are the possibilities of intentional, induced disasters and false flag attacks, allegedly by patriots against which the Department of Homeland Security systematically trains law enforcement personnel as being suspected terrorists. Hey, you know what? That's you and I, folks, in case you didn't notice it. That's you and I they're talking about there. For the consideration of that possibility, I was provoked to write this article, blah, blah, blah. Also, there is barely any excuse at this point not to be aware of the likelihood of imminent economic crisis or collapse, intentional in the minds of many. And that would be a crisis too good to waste for those who wish to take advantage cause social turmoil and seize further power. It's my personal belief that that's what Obama's doing in office, is trying to bring us right to the collapse. And we're real close now, folks, because there's no stopping him. Who in the U.S. military could ever be counted on to carry out such orders? Consider the personnel testimony of a source I personally know and trust attached to the top of blah, blah, blah article. All right, we'll get back to that. I'll post the links down below. I'm going to let you guys get into some of this. But in case you're not sure this stuff's really going on, look, they've got the nation divided up into sections. FEMA divided up into sections, 5 sections. So you'll be, corralled and controlled within one of those 5 sections. Which section do you live in? That's where you're going to be. They've got FEMA camps located in all these areas. So they're getting ready for something here, folks. I don't know. It's amazing to me to see it. For the better part of 2 decades, FEMA detention camps were believed to be a figment of tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorists. As more information over the years has been made available through alternative news researchers like Alex Jones in his full-length documentary Police State 4, and former Governor Jesse Ventura's FEMA camp expose, it is becoming increasingly clear that the government has been taking steps for quite some time to ensure a rapid and effective response in the event of a national disaster or U.S. military deployment on American soil. As many of our readers know, the U.S. Senate recently passed the National Defense Authorization Act, which it has been argued authorizes the establishment of domestic war zones and the subsequent detention of those who are suspected of engaging in terrorist-related activity, including arguably, U.S. citizens. What you may not know, however, is that just days after the passage of the act, reports are surfacing that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, under the auspices of the Department of Homeland Security, is requisitioning private contractors to provide services for government, defense, and infrastructure pertaining specifically to the FEMA activities with respect to emergency services. At first glance, this may seem like no big deal. Why shouldn't the government prepare for emergencies? However, a review of the email made available through InfoWars from Kellogg Brown and Root Services, KBR, a subsidiary of mega government contractor Halliburton, notes that the contracting opportunities available through the government and KBR are specifically for temporary camp services and facilities. All right. KBR is seeking subcontractors on a national basis to provide temporary camp services and facilities as part of its current and future emergency services contract for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and state and local government agencies. The continental U.S. will be broken up into 5 regions. Services will be required in each state within each region. Establish services listed below within 72 hours for initial setup and response, within 24 hours for incremental services. This is a contingency project, and it should be stressed that lead times will be short, with critical requirements due to the nature of emergency responses. Subcontractors must be flexible and able to handle multiple shifting priorities in an emergency environment. Supply lines needed must be short, but not necessarily pre-positioned. All right. And then there's this. This one's at the Intel Hub. Now this came out today, or yesterday, December 20th. Yesterday. Company who lobbied for the NDAA indefinite detention bill is given a $23 million contract for night raid equipment. Huh, how about that? So they pushed for it, and now they're getting the benefit. $23 million contract to build night raid equipment. Very interesting. Folks, it sounds like they're getting ready for the initiation of martial law, doesn't it? And having a place to put dissenters or troublemakers or patriots or people that love America. There's a place for you. According to the reports of the Daily Kos and Russia Today, a company specializing in night raid equipment was awarded $23 million contract from the Department of Defense and subsequently went on to lobby for, they were given the contract first, and then they went on to lobby for the NDAA, which has given the government the power to indefinitely detain American citizens. Surefire, that's the name of the outfit. Surefire Limited LLC openly lobbied for the House version of the NDAA, a bill many have claimed has effectively ended the Bill of Rights, months after receiving the $23 million contract from the DoD. Why would this company be receiving a contract that could outfit at least 30,000 troops with new and updated night raid equipment when the U.S. is supposedly pulling troops out of Iraq, to a smaller extent Afghanistan? Why has the same company gone on to lobby for a bill that has turned the United States into a war zone? So what do they make over there at Surefire? Night raid equipment. With a fresh new $23 million contract from the DoD, even as we saw troops pulling out of Iraq, they're about to pull out of Afghanistan. The product catalog, main categories read things like weapon lights, helmet lights, sound suppressors, high-capacity magazines. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you need for normal policing, isn't it? This is what you need to protect and serve right here, all this stuff. Yeah, I don't think so. The equipment is relatively cheap, not big ticket items in the Defense Department terms. That means this is a big contract. A $23 million contract would buy enough of these things to outfit maybe 50,000 soldiers. Does it seem likely that the night raid gear that will be provided to the DoD under the $23 million contract will be used outside the United States, when the company who won the contract is lobbying for a bill that lets the military operate against American citizens inside the country? As we have reported in the past, the plans for martial law in America have long been drawn up, and the idea that either our own military, foreign militaries, or a combination of both will be used against the American people has steadily gained ground as millions of people around the world have become aware of these dastardly plans. Every week, it seems like more and more information is released that further proves these plans are real and already capable of becoming fully operational within 72 hours. Whether it be Ron Paul warning about the NDAA and martial law, or the United Nations troops carrying out martial law drills within the United States, the fact remains that the possibility of martial law scenario in this country remains very real. I'm just wondering if you folks have thought about this and what you're going to do. Still not convinced? In 2008, the Pentagon openly announced their plans for a 20,000 strong military force. This is the number they admit. The actual number is sure to be much higher. So the Pentagon openly announced their plans for a 20,000 strong military force set to operate within the United States. This internal force was also called for in a RAND Corporation document titled A Stability Police Force for the United States. Stability. That's in case there's instability, which there will be. That's by design. I don't even know if I can finish reading this. I'm going to just post a link down below and let you guys read it. It's pretty upsetting. Alrighty. That's it.